Howdy, it's me, Manic Mark, coming to you from the bunker system located underneath the art villa found somewhere in the jungles of the Midwest, the humid jungles of the Midwest, at least for today, perhaps tomorrow. It's been a long run of humidity. Some of you living down south know that even better than I do. Rain 4 inches here, but that's nothing in comparison to the problems people are having down south. Anyway, okay, what's going on? You haven't been around for 2 weeks. Well, I have been around, I just haven't made a video, and I really don't have much going on today, except for, how about this? That's right, it's the Flaming Merchant of Death. The Flaming Merchant of Death, we'll be getting back to him in just a second. He's peddling death out there and he's flaming. That's about it, but he'll come back. Anyway, okay, I've got some records. It took me 2 weeks just to get this many records. More records went out of the house than came into the house the last couple of weeks, which is a good thing. So I'm working on my late 50s, pretty late, almost 60. You know, when you get to be this age, you're like, oh. It seemed like an appropriate thing to do to collect all this stuff, but now there's so much of it. And you're 60 and everything, you know. And so, let's go back to the Merchant of Death. That's right, there you go, the Merchant of Death. Continuing saga of the Merchant of Death. So I'm getting rid of stuff. And what else is going on? Oh, I got a good story to tell myself. Most people, when they do something incredibly stupid, they just hope it goes away, not to be realized or spread around the internet. Or some people do actually very incredible stuff on purpose and spread it around on purpose. I'm sort of in between those two. This was a not on purpose incredible incident that happened to me. Some of you may understand, others of you will probably just say, call a doctor, go a brain surgeon or something. You can put him into the MRI and figure out what the hell's wrong with his head. So I'd just like to explain the story in the short version, which will be just however long it is. I'm splitting firewood on a hot day, alright. Splitting firewood takes me about 3 hours. I got to get all this stuff out of my shed, my outbuilding, and then like a tractor. I pull my tractor out, I use it to lift up logs, so I'm not bending over and picking up a bunch of stuff. I have a bucket front loader with a brush fork on the front of it, which allows me to put a good a number of pieces of wood in there, lift it up, take it over to the log splitter, kind of roll it right onto the log splitter so I'm not picking up as much. Anyway, so I've driven the tractor for 8 years. But to back up the story, with the new truck, which is an automatic, okay, I've been driving a manual since 1988. I learned how to drive a manual on an H pattern on a steering column H pattern, 1951 Chevy. Went to a Hudson Commodore and a 3-speed with non-synchronous first gear in the Jeep, and then a Jeep Cherokee, the other Jeep, and the Dodge truck. So always, so I knew when I got this automatic, it's like, okay, don't have to think about clutching anymore. Is that a bad thing or a good thing? I just had a feeling there was going to be some confusion. So you see where this is going to go. So I'm backing up the tractor, the last thing to put away in my outbuilding. I'm daydreaming about what I'm going to have for lunch. What do I have? Tuna fish, just a regular cheese sandwich, maybe a salad. Not quite sure. I get back to where I need to stop and I put on the brake just like I would in the truck with no clutch. All right. You've never driven a tractor. A brake is not going to stop a tractor when it's in gear. Not at all. The tractor doesn't care. Brake? I don't care. So I had about 2 seconds to wake up before the backhoe, which is the back end of the tractor, which is I guess why they call it a backhoe rather than a front hoe, would crash through the wall, you know, and I'm pushing on a brake like just in shock. Like, why is this stopping? Damn it, I was cussing pretty loud too. It's kind of dark in the shed, so, you know, I mean, I just, you know, I would had to. So they back right into the wall, right through the wall. If it hadn't been for the tree behind the shed, I probably would have backed up over the little half wall, through the wood wall, and it went down the hillside. Jesus Christ. Took me 2 days to repair that mess. I didn't hit anything structural. And I didn't mess up the roof, didn't push the roof up. I didn't break my $200 pruning pole that was sitting there. I got really lucky that I just backed through, you know, the 2x4s and some 6x whatever's, 1x6s. Just incredible. I started laughing. So I back through and I'm just so flustered. I'm just like, I got to fix this really fast so nobody knows I did it. Until I get on YouTube and I plane the whole thing and illustrate it with a photograph. So there was a whole 5-gallon bucket full of these little metal decorative parts I bought, like old lamp parts from the 20s. All right, so I broke that bucket open and spilled half of it onto the outside. So I get another bucket. I filled the thing half up, and I've got the broken bucket, which is now completely empty. I think I'll just throw it up there. And when I threw it, I thought, oh, that wasn't a very good throw. It's going to roll down the hillside. So it starts to roll down the hillside. I'm like, oh, no. I knew it was going to happen. I reach out, and I lose the grip on the bucket I've just spent 15 minutes filling up, and that falls down the hillside, spreading parts all over the place. Oh, my God. That was a pretty good story. Let's go back to the Merchant of Death. That's right, the Merchant of Death, he's still on fire. Why is he on fire? Well, I don't know. Why not? Why not? Look what he's pushing. It's all the tinsely, glittering death. A whole cart full of glittering death. I wonder how much it costs, and I wonder how much you get for whatever you pay. I don't know. Anyway, his head's on fire. Merchant of Death. Okay, let's go to the records. This is a fabulous video, I must say. An online friend of mine, the fabulous David Fair, who stopped by here once, and it was really made my day by making a video here with me and Nick Bark at a bunker system back years ago. Anyway, he found an album, this album, at a thrift store, and it reminded me that years ago I looked for this album. The only copies I found on eBay were kind of expensive. I was jealous of David and had to keep up with the Joneses. So I went on eBay and I found somebody selling a copy for, I don't know, 11 or 12 bucks, something like that. It wasn't as much as all the other copies, and this is a pretty darn good copy for a change. I haven't put it on the turntable. I'll probably play a sample from it. Haven't put it on the turntable yet, so I don't know how it will sound. That's one of my main beefs. I just got 4 records in the mail from some guy I paid good money for. And they were all overgraded. In fact, one is rated as very good. I guess if you looked at it visually, you may say it's very good, but it was barely good. Lots of noise. I couldn't stand it. And he packed it, 4 records I buy, and he packs it in just a sheet of bubble, like the little tiny bubble thing. So it took a hit and crumpled the corner, and people are just... I should introduce them to the Merchant of Death, those folks, that's right. See how that works out for them. Okay, so that'll be a fun record to play a sample from. At Half Price, Full Price Books this week, they've got a cube in their bin, and it's got a lock on it, and they can put about 20 records in it that they value more than other records, and they've got a jazz album in this bin that they valued at $650. Now I wonder how much they gave the person who brought the record in. I bet like a quarter. Whoever's pricing records now, I swear to God, they're more than full price now. There were some Charlie Mingus records. Did I get that right? Some jazz records, you know, I think they may be okay, but they were $20 a piece. And who knows, on eBay, I don't know. Maybe they're worth 20. But to me, on a whim, at Half Price, Full Price Books, not going to do it. This, however, was $1. It's a local record. Cincinnati, Ohio Vetco label where it was manufactured. I would have to investigate. But basically, it's just a claw hammer banjo, an old-time fiddle. Sometimes they can be really good. I went and saw a guy out of Dayton, Appalachian Festival. It was a deal I participated in for 10 years, and then there were some problems, and they just didn't care anymore, and I had to get out of there because some crazy people came in. And anyway, he was really, really good because he had a great singing voice, like a raw kind of singing voice, which was accentuated by the old time clawhammer banjo and fiddle, instruments that he played. So, I have no idea what to expect out of that. Probably won't feature anything from that. Teenage Dance Party by Dan Terry, whoever the hell Dan Terry is. I have no idea, but the cover was... Haven't seen the cover before, don't know who Dan Terry is. The record's filthy, hope it cleans up, so I picked it up, brought it home. Kitty Wells album. Alright, Kitty Wells. I could swear that I listened to one of her records and she has a really nice quality to her voice. More pop than country. Not like a pop country. But never mind, go on. She's sitting in front of all her awards in this photograph, which is also interesting. I suppose they're for making music, I would guess. Anyway. A local gal, Bonnie Lou, I blogged one of her albums on the Motel Lounge, my Motel Lounge blog, and she died not too long ago. She was about 90 years old or something like that, and that's when people found or they decided to leave a couple of comments like, oh, well, Bonnie just passed away, you know, and she did this or that, and I didn't realize that she did have a career to some extent before she finished out her entire career. Back in the days when there was local TV, okay, that you could make a living at, and it was a show in the afternoon show, local TV. There were only 3 channels. Oh my God, way back in the olden days, 3 channels. Local people could actually make a living performing, entertaining, and she did. She sang on that show, but she also made a record on King, Bonnie Lou. I think it's country or something. Maybe I should play something from this too, just because.
Well, I'm available to hold you tight. I'm available for Saturday night. I'm available and willing, it's true. feeling all alone, well, I'm available for a kiss or two. My lovable baby, I'm in love with you.
I went into that. Billy Maxted probably won't like it. Not sure if this is a re-release. I don't know. With the photo on the back, it makes me think maybe it's not. Manhattan Jazz Band, that's the name of this group. It's just later on, but the songs are still, they're older, two standards, so not sure what to make of that. Now, we've reached the end. Wait a minute! Before we go into the last fabulous record, here's another segment of The Death Merchant. That's right, the Death Merchant. With his head on fire, there he goes. Oh, no, Death Merchant. You're so sad, all on fire like that. Now, I found this Somerset release, 3-record release, $4. Probably not worth that even. But it has a kind of interesting photograph. And, you know, it's just Somerset collecting together whatever they had on the shelf. They scraped it off and they threw it onto the vinyl, whatever they had. But what I found was interesting about this album, I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, it was open like this, and I thought, oh well, it's 3 records, it's a gatefold, right? So there's a sleeve, and then this opens up and they explain stuff on the inside or something. But I open it up, I'm like, I see on the inside this, which you can't, can you see any of it? Just barely. It's easier to see with the naked eye. There you go. Almost you could see it. I thought it was like, what? That it was the wrong jacket or something, but then I realized that Somerset had taken an album cover that they had printed and didn't use for some reason of Cat Stevens' Foreigner album. It's a Cat Stevens Foreigner album. Or maybe they didn't print it. Maybe they just got it at the printer. Maybe the printer said, oh, there was something wrong with this, we can't use it, you want the paper stock for free. So they ran their 4-color press on the front, and they ran 1 color, a big black wad of ink on the back of this Cat Stevens Foreigner album. Not Cat Stevens and Foreigner, that's what I thought originally. What a combination that would have been, that would have sold, okay? So you can see you can see the image on the back. You can see it through the ink. Anyway, it had come unglued, and I was able to see that. And I thought, this is the best budget album that was ever made anywhere. They were so cheap. They used a blank that for some reason there were too many, or not a blank, but a print job that wasn't printed on. I don't know. They flipped it over and they printed it and they tried to obscure it, and it ended up on this thing here that I'm not going to feature any samples from. What kind of musical sample are you going to feature? Well, probably from the Hardware album, the Hardware Store album or something. That'd be my guess. I should save something from that until right now. Right after the end of the Death Merchant, the Merchant of Death, not from Venice, I don't think. Probably not. You think, why did you do that? Well, I tried to sell them to a collector on eBay, but nobody wanted the Merchant of Death. That's before he was the Merchant of Death. He was the Merchant of Happiness and selling flowers. The fresh flower merchant before he became the Merchant of Death. I couldn't sell them. What could he do? He's like, hey, nobody wants fresh flowers, a happy fresh flower merchant. I'm going to become the Merchant of Death. Screw you all.